So in this video we are going to show you how to replace the LED headlights in the front of the EVOLV Terra. So there's the headlight white facing forward, there's a red one here and behind this metal casting here that shines this tube down to the back and creates the back light. So first thing we're going to do is just remove these set screws. So this is a 2.5 millimeter Allen key. These three hold the tube, but we're going to take this one out as well just in case we need to move this light when we're working on getting the cables or finding the wires from the inside to check the connections. So we're just take out these three set screws. You can actually leave them just sitting in there. Just want to back them off so that the tube can slide out. Once they're out a little bit, then just slide the tube back. And we'll just set it here. And once we've got this out, you'll notice in this space here, there's all of this silicone which seals up where the wires go into the body. Right now we can push this back a little bit. Now we can see where this wire is here for the back light. And there's another one right there for the front light. So we do have to get this silicone out of here. You want to be very careful when you're doing that because we don't want to damage the wires for the lights. Don't use anything really sharp like an X-Acto knife or anything like that, or any kind of cutters that could damage the wires. Use something blunt like a screwdriver or whatever, and then you're just going to easily, carefully work it up from the outside, and you can use a pair of needle nose pliers to reach in there and help pulling it out. Okay, so there are 6 screws to remove the front panel on the scooter. One is on the top in the folding block down in here. It's a little bit hard to get at, but you can make it easier by taking out this roller. So these are all 3 millimeter Allen keys, and so you're just going to fit them in. Undo this one first. You don't have to take this roller out, but especially when you're putting the screw back in, it just makes it easier to reach it. This one in here is easiest to reach with a regular sort of an Allen key and a ball end like this, so you can get at it with an angle. But make sure that when you're loosening it, when you're breaking it loose, use the L end, not the ball end. Otherwise you can strip out the fitting in the screw. So this one's already loose. And now what we're going to do is flip the scooter back up on its side because it's easier to work on the rest of it with it on its side. Okay, so we've got the red tube out. I've dug out the silicone here already. I just used a screwdriver and some needle nose pliers like I said before. Now we can move this. We want to make sure that the wires are loose so that makes it easier to figure out which wire is which on the inside. And some of this silicone will need to be removed from the inside once we open it. So we're going to open it next. And we've got one screw down here on the bottom in the middle. These are, again, all 3 millimeter Allen keys fittings. And then the 4 on the front. Okay, so this plate will have some silicone on the inside, and it is a bit of a snug fit. So very gently, you can use a screwdriver just to help pry it open. Only put the very tip of it in here. You don't want to jam it in too far. And you're just going to very easily twist it like that. Notice that it's quite loose. It's coming out. Once you've got a little bit loose, you can rock it out and pull it out. Then we're just going to peel this glued on piece of foam here. You want to take it off carefully because you do want to reuse it. So try not to rip it. But it is pretty sticky. And now we're just going to pull the cables out gently. So it's packed in there a little bit tight, but you just want to be careful. Work slowly. Take your time. Don't force anything. And we're looking for the light module, which is going to be tucked in here. These red and black cables here with these green, these are the ones that go to the cables. So once you find those, work the rest of the bundles out, all the things that are in there. Don't pull too hard on it. Everything will come out. Just like I said, take your time. A little flashlight helps. So you can see where it is. There it is right there. You can see it with these green wires and that red and yellow wire there. That's your light module right there. So these wires here, these two wires here are the ones that go to the lights. And what you can do is we want to find this one so we can push the backlight out or push it in a little bit. Fish that wire out of there. Like that, gently again so you can see which one is moving. And we can see here by pulling that that's the one that we want. We can push this out, and now we can see this. Now we can see the whole connector piece for this. So if you need to replace this light, this is a connector that you need to change. And it just comes out like that. Then you'll just feed this out through the hole. Just need to get it clear of that cable, and that is the rear LED light that we're going to be replacing in this case. So once you got your new light, you're just going to take that end, work it back through that hole. You might need to use something that you can fit in there easier, again, like a screwdriver. But again, work very, very carefully. Don't force anything. You're just trying to work it through, jiggle that other wire because you got to get that connector past it. And it'll go. As you can see, it's going in now. It's clear. And just look in the front. You can see it. Pull it through. connector. There it is right here. And it's a one-way fit only. Make sure that this catch is going in against that tab there. Line the pins up. Don't force anything. Just push it together until it clicks. And give a little tug test to make sure that everything's locked in place. So before we put all the wiring back in, we're going to actually turn the scooter on and test it and make sure that that light is working. And so that one's working now. White one is still working. Other side. Both are still working over there. Check the brakes. And all looks good. Okay, so now we're going to put the tube back in. Just so we make sure our wire and everything is in the correct place once we start putting everything back into the body. So tube's back in. We just need the set screws.
Does the silicone go on before the tube goes back in or after?
No, we'll put the silicone in once we're finished everything. So I'm just going to start with the one in the middle. Doesn't really matter either way. You don't need to tighten these pins an awful lot. This is just a plastic thing. They're just like a grub screw going in to hold it in place. Make sure you line the threads up. If you're having problems lining up the threads, once you set the screw into the hole, like this, what you can do is just turn it backwards till it clicks like it just did. That's the threads lining up and seating in, and then you can just tighten it down. And that now is going to hold this light in place. Everything's snug. And we can do the front one as well. Just push it so the casing's near flush with the end here. And again, you're not tightening these a lot. Once it seats, maybe about 1/8 to 1/4 of a turn is all it needs. You don't want to damage the housing on the LED. So the silicone we're using here is Ultra Black Gasket Maker. You want to make sure that you are using a silicone and not like just a basic sort of a construction style caulking. You want it to be like chemically based so that it's going to give a good water seal and last a long time. This one here, it takes an hour to dry to sort of touch, and it takes 24 hours to fully cure. And my recommendation would be you want to leave this first layer that we put in here at least 12 hours overnight, whatever. Give it a good chance to cure up before you put the next layer on. And the next layer, when you put it on here on the outside, we're not going to completely fill this space. That would be wasteful, but we are definitely going to build up a good layer on top of what's there. And then we may also add a little bit on the inside here, depending on how it looks when it's dry. You want to do your best to try and seal up that hole there like it was from the factory, so water's not getting in. And just one other tip that I might add is if you're in a wet area like we are in Vancouver, and you are occasionally riding in the wet, I would probably just take some Gorilla Tape or something like that, a black that you won't see, but actually cover over this slot once the silicone is all dry and everything, just to give it a little bit of extra protection. We're going to put the silicone in here. Actually, we need to do this before we stuff the wire in. I've just wet my finger a little bit of my glove here so that it doesn't stick. And all I'm going to do is just put the silico in from the top like this. Squeeze a bit in there. And we want to be able to seal from the inside and the outside. So again, I'm just putting a little bit of water on my gloves so it sticks a little less. And we're just going to push that in there flat. And we're going to do this, this right now is just a first layer. We're going to do another layer after this dries. So just read the instructions on your silicone and make sure you let it dry this first layer before you go in and redo it. And now we're ready to start putting the wiring back in. So for this, take your time doing this. All of these connectors and whatnot, there's spaces between the controllers and the batteries. You want to fit these bulky pieces in. The main thing that you need to have clearance for when you put this back on is for the charge port here on this side. So you'll want to make sure that you leave some space there. And then this piece here has to go in the middle and line up with these two holes again. So you want to make sure the area behind it is relatively clear, that there isn't any big bulky pieces of plastic or wads of wiring that are going to stop this from going in. When you go to put the panel back in, it'll be tight. You need to push it in, but you shouldn't have to force it. You can bump it with your hand a little bit, but you should definitely not use a mallet or a hammer on it. You should be able to get it in just by pressing hard with your thumbs and giving a little bit of a bump with the heel of your hand.